All right, welcome to the Explainer. Today, we're going inside a corporate machine, one that's really built for the modern era. We're going to unlock the blueprint behind the VietDak Digital Operating System. So here's the puzzle, right? It's probably one of the biggest challenges any modern conglomerate faces. How on earth do you get a single, unified, real-time view of everything when you're dealing with healthcare, real estate, high-tech agriculture, and AI development all at the same time? Well, VDOS' answer to that puzzle wasn't just to, build a bunch of separate, disconnected apps. Nope. They decided to build something way more ambitious. A single, intelligent system they call the VDOS. So let's start with the big challenge here. And first, you really have to appreciate the sheer scale of what we're talking about. I mean, think about the complexity of trying to manage businesses that are so wildly different from each other. You've got hospitals, retail chains, schools, investment funds, all living under one single corporate roof. Okay, so how do you tackle that chaos? This is where their philosophy, their blueprint, really starts to make sense. It's all built on a super clear, really powerful three-tiered structure. And you can see that logic right here. It's actually pretty simple, but really powerful when you think about it. Down at the bottom, you've got all the specialized apps for each industry. That's where the day-to-day business happens. Then all that raw data gets fed upwards into the central platform. And that platform? It powers a single command center right at the very top. Now, this whole blueprint is driven by three really powerful goals. And trust me, these are not just corporate buzzwords. They are the absolute core objectives, and we're going to see exactly how they bring them to life by the time we're done here. All right, let's get into the core of the system, what they call the heart. And that's a great name for it because this is basically the engine room. It's where all the raw, messy data from every single corner of the business gets pulled in and transformed into clean, unified intelligence. So you can see the journey the data takes. It flows from every single transaction right through this pipeline. First, it gets pulled from all those different apps and dumped into what's called a data lake. Just picture a giant pool of raw, unfiltered information. But then the really valuable stuff gets scooped out, cleaned up, structured, and put into a data warehouse. Think of the data warehouse less like a lake and more like a perfectly organized library. Everything's in its right place, which makes it super fast and easy for leaders to find what they need and analyze it. And right here, this is where the real magic happens. It's called the KPI Engine. Honestly, the best way to think about it is like a universal translator, but for business. It's a really smart layer of software that basically teaches the entire system to speak one single, common language for all its key performance indicators. KPIs. Let me give you a perfect example. Revenue from a hospital, that's money from patient services, right, is calculated in a totally different way than revenue from a retail store selling products. What the KPI engine does is it makes sure they can be accurately compared side by side as normalized revenue. Without that step, trying to compare performance across the whole group would be, well, impossible. You'd be comparing apples to oranges. Okay, so we've seen the heart, now we get to the brain, the command center for the entire operation. This is where all that beautiful, unified data we just talked about gets turned into clear, actionable insights for the leadership team. And here's a look at the COO's dashboard. This thing gives them an instant pulse check on the health of the entire organization, both financially and operationally. It takes all that immense complexity and just boils it down to the handful of critical metrics that really truly matter for the group as a whole. But this is the real game changer, the business heat map. It is so simple, but so effective. It's just a color-coded grid that instantly shows leaders exactly where they need to focus their attention. You know the drill. Green is good, yellow is a warning, and red, well, red means you've got a problem that needs looking at now. And the goal they have for this one single screen is, well, it's astonishingly simple, but at the same time, it's incredibly ambitious. The goal is to be able to spot the biggest problem in a massive, multi-billion-dollar conglomerate in just 5 seconds. 5 seconds. I mean, just stop and think about what that means. It's not just about finding problems faster. It's about creating a whole new level of corporate agility, a culture where you can take immediate action. So, okay, you see red on the map. What happens next? So, there it is. A red flag pops up on the heat map. Let's say, for example, it's the return on invested capital, the ROIC, and it's in the real estate sector. It's flashing bright red. Now, the system doesn't just wave a red flag in your face and walk away. It lets you instantly drill down. So with just one click, you can dive right into the specific business unit that's causing the problem. And then, with maybe a couple more clicks, boom, you've gone from that 30,000-foot view of the entire company right down to the specific project that's bleeding money and needs immediate attention. That is the power of truly integrated intelligence. Okay, so let's put it all together. Let's trace a single piece of data from the very beginning all the way to the top and see how this whole thing connects in a real-world, real-time flow. Let's follow the journey of a single sale. A customer buys something at a store. That transaction isn't just a number that sits in a spreadsheet somewhere. Oh no, it's an event. It instantly starts traveling through the entire corporate nervous system. It gets ingested by the data platform, normalized by that KPI engine, and shows up on the CEO's dashboard, almost in real time. But here's the cool part. If that one sale, combined with thousands of others, starts to create a subtle negative trend in profit margins, the AI layer spots it. It flags the anomaly, and the right executive gets a push notification on their phone. Think about that. That's the difference between reading a report about what happened last month and actually steering the ship in the moment. So, as you can see, this system is amazing for managing the here and now, but it's not just about that. It's a platform that's been built with a very clear, methodical roadmap for the future. It's designed to evolve and actually help shape where the company is going. So the journey starts where it should, building a solid data foundation in phase 1, and then integrating everything in phase 2. But the real ambition, the truly exciting part, comes in phases 3 and 4. This is where the system goes from just flagging problems to actively forecasting them, running what-if scenarios, and even recommending how to best invest capital across the whole group. That's a huge leap. And so, when you pull it all together, by executing this entire blueprint, VDOS actually achieves those 3 big guiding principles we talked about right at the beginning. They get their single source of truth, their single KPI language for performance, and their single command center to steer the whole ship. Which really brings us to a final, pretty provocative thought. A system like this, it does more than just make a company more efficient. It fundamentally changes the DNA of leadership itself. So when gut feeling is no longer the main tool in the toolbox, when it's guided and supercharged by hard data at every single turn, what does that really mean for the future of business?